What you mean?
What's dope as a nigga in flight mode? Hey, we can take
What up, YouTube? We are back with another fire tutorial. This time we're doing a low taper. So without further ado, let's get started. You know we got that prep work, draping the client. During our consultation, he told me that he's going to be getting a perm, so I don't really have to touch the top, but we still want to comb through and make sure we're very aware of his hair texture and combing the hair down into its natural place. So here, as you can see, I'm using my clamps to section off the top of his hair right at the parietal ridge, and this is where I'm going to start debulking the sides. As I'm debulking and establishing the length on the side, I'm using my 3 guard and going against the grain, and I'm also using my comb as a barrier so that I stay beneath the ridge. I don't want to run this guard up too close because I want the fade to flow, and I want to leave a little bit of weight for the transition. Since I'm doing a low taper, I like to do a pre-lineup just to know where I'm at within the fade. Here I'm setting in my initial ball line, and I'm just doing like a little arrow up, something slight. We're gonna go ahead and set our ball line in the back as well. Now, same as we did on the right, that's what we're gonna do to the left. We're doing a 3 guard against the grain, bracing ourselves with our comb, making sure that we keep our clipper below the ridge, and just letting that hair glide off that comb to make sure that we get a nice flow. And now we set our ball line again. As I said before, my client is going to be getting a perm, which is a chemical service using perm rods that's going to make his hair curlier. Now, I don't want to take off too much length when it comes to the top, so I'm not going to touch it, but the hair that's hanging over his ears right here, I have to debulk that to make sure that the transition all around is clean, and when I go to line up the sides, I'm not going to be having trouble because that hair is going to be a lot more manageable. So now that we establish our length on sides, which is a 3, we're ready to blend. The guards we're using in this cut is a 3 guard, the 1.5 guard, the 1 guard, and the half guard or the blur blade. So first thing first, I'm coming in with my lever open, just a 1/2 inch right at the temple, and I'm setting in my initial guideline. And once I set that thing in, man, I'm not gonna wait. I'm notching the clipper down to mid and then close, and I'm attacking that bottom line and taking it out. Now I have my 1 guard on, and I'm going up another 1/2 inch right at the temple, and I'm setting in my second guideline, which is my 1 lever open. Now I have my 1 guard lever closed, just dropped it down, trying to soften that line up, nothing too crazy. Here you can use the half guard, but y'all know me, I got the blur blade going, and we gonna connect this fade from the rooter to the tutor, baby. Yeah, we already getting busy with the chopper down, baby. Now to tie it all in, we're gonna come with our 1.5 guard lever open first and then closed, And this is going to connect us from that 3 on down. Also, as I'm working this 1.5 guard, I want to make sure that I'm keeping it right there at the temple. I do not want to raise this fade up. Now y'all know me, I like to pick. I'm just coming back and doing some detail work with the corner of my clipper. This is a 1 guard open, and I'm just playing with it. Yeah. And this is one of them cases where I should have left well enough alone, because now I kind of have to doctor it up and fix it a little bit. It's not completely out of whack, but yeah. Here I'm using the shears over comb technique, which is really good for tight knit areas like a low taper fade right there at the temple. But you want to make sure that you're angling that comb out and you're allowing the comb to tell you what areas to cut, what's uneven, and just gliding it up. In this area, you can also use another method called point cutting, where you angle the shears to attack the dark spots that you see in the fade. You want to make sure that you're going against where the hair is. Now I'm going up to the parietal ridge, and I'm using my thinning shears to soften that line of demarcation. I just want to remove a little bit of the weight and make sure that transition is natural as possible. As I said before, due to this hairstyle and texture, I'm doing a pre-line up before, just to keep my work in check. So when you're lining up a taper behind the ear and the nape, you definitely want to take your time with it. You don't want it to be lopsided. You want it to be neat, symmetrical, and you don't want to raise it too high, because if you raise it too high, man, you're gonna have that boy looking crazy. So as always, the same pressure that we apply to the right, we apply to the left. Let me just take the time to say that the music that you hear is not only one of my beats, but I actually have a song to this music. It's called Grounded. You can check the links below. You can listen to it on all platforms below and just vibe out with me. Now I know you can't really see what's in my hand at this moment, but I am using a shaver just to get it bald in this area. Remember, when you're lining up the comb or the brush, that's gonna be your best friend. Don't neglect it because it will keep you crispy. Now we ready for our back taper, and I gotta say, this is my favorite part about a taper. We got our lever open, going up a 1/2 inch, flicking out, and we setting our first guideline. Now we're gonna go ahead and notch that clipper down halfway to close until we finally see that bottom line we set in disappear. Now we come in with our 1 guard, flicking out, and we're going up another 1/2 inch, and we're setting in our second guideline. Same like we did on the sides. Baby, the steps don't change. Only thing changed is your draws, I hope. Nah. Okay, so now we come in with our blur blade, which you can also use the 1/2 guard, and we're just gonna notch that blur blade down until we soften that line completely from that 1 guard to that lever open. And y'all know me, I always say when you doing a taper, you want to angle that thing out. You need to be able to see it from the side and the back, and making sure both areas, both areas got a pop. Now I have my 1.5 guard lever open, and I'm flicking out, scooping out, trying to soften that line up. I don't want to go up too far because, again, my client is getting a perm, and I know that some of this hair in the back is going to be going into rod. So right now I'm going in with my 1 guard, and I'm fading out a line I didn't mean to set with my 1.5 guard. And then I'm gonna come back with my thinning shears and just kind of debulking that area a little bit more. I want to soften that line and smoothing out that transition right there. Step 4, we ready to line up the front, and here you see me attacking his C-cups. I'm just trying to make sure that my fade is right there at the temple, and I'll leave it there. I want everything else to be kind of dark because this is a low fade, a low taper fade, let me say. So for his front edge up, I did spray some holding spray just to kind of lock the hairs in place. I know you see nothing but dreads right now, but give it time. I'm gonna get better at this. But you know, I started at the highest point and I'm working my way to his corners. Now remember, brush, brush, brush. Don't be in a rush. You definitely want to get this part right without enhancements. I know a lot of people use enhancements these days, but they shouldn't cover up your work. It should be there to accent it. So the lineup already got to be crispy without it. Like, it got to already be on point. So when they come to you and they ask you if you got that 5, you be like, shh, you know how I'm coming. So we gave it to them. Now here his corner is actually, I ain't gonna say light, but it's not as defined on this side. So I have to really make sure that I don't try to overdo it and, you know, push him back trying to create that box look. So this is where you make sure that the lineup on top is precise, because it's gonna save you. Once you see I connected, it's gonna start looking a lot more promising. Now you see it's starting to take form. So here I'm walking across with my hitters, and these bad boys zero gap to the point where I could barely touch it and that hair is gonna fly off. Now I'm setting in my pencil, and now we ready to detail. I'm applying that dye with the brush, and I think I want to get a airbrush again, but I don't know which one, man. Y'all comment down below and let me know what should I get. Here I'm using that Kiss Temptation black spray, and I'll give y'all a trick. Whenever you want to apply it dark, you scoot it closer, and if you want to just get like a hint or a tint of it, you pull it back. It's important to know how to fade in order to use enhancements effectively, because like I say, a lot of people can use it to cover up their work or to make the cut, but when you know how to fade and you know how to use it properly, you don't overdo it, and it actually comes out a lot cleaner. Now we ready to pull that skin back in the opposite direction and let that razor glide and do its thing. This is the before. Ooh, that boy was out of there. And now, he him. That's him. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you thought about the cut. Let me know what you want to see in the future. And I'll see y'all again next week.